Welcome to another episode of These Two Girls podcast, where we share our views on love, life, and everything in between with your hosts,
Candy.
and Cheyenne. We're back at
Hey.
it again.
Hey everyone. Hey. Hey y'all.
Okay.
What?
I, I feel like you're so low, but I don't know. I'm gonna just let you do what you
Listen,
do.
we did the test run and it was good.
Okay,
So we good.
you're right.
You okay. All right.
Yes.
This is my sexy voice.
um, about that.
Okay, this is not my sexy voice.
Okay.
I don't want anyone to think this is and then we're
That's
like,
your
really?
KK
That's what
voice.
you saw? Right?
You're like, that's why you single.
Okay, delete, y'all. That's not my cake and voice. Okay, don't listen. Okay, all right. Just carry on. Oh
Okay,
my god,
yes, yes. So what's been going on in life?
adulting,
You know? Yeah.
girl. I need to change my tires on my car.
I just changed mine last week.
I have not gotten around to
I
doing
had to
it.
change three of them. All three of them. Okay?
Tree. I have to change
Tree.
all four. If one more person tells me that I need to change my tires, I'm be
Mhm.
like, I know that. Thank you again. Like every time somebody sees me, they want to tell me about my tires. Girl, you know you need to change your tires.
But
And
the thing is, I changed one already before these three because when I was driving back from Fort Lauderdale the other day,
mhm.
I had a blowout on the road.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah. So I
Ugh.
ended up changing one, and then it was like, well, it's only a matter of time before the
Mhm.
rest go. So, yeah.
Man, I'm on here driving like a grandma because I'm like, Lord, please do not let any of these tires blow out. Just give me till the weekend.
Alright.
Just take me to the weekend, and I'll take care of all of it on Saturday. I promise you, Lord, I'll take care of it.
Yeah.
So we holding on right now. My tires are holding on, you know.
Yeah.
Adulting,
Hmm.
adulting.
In other news, I'm vegan.
You're what?
I'm
Listen,
vegan.
I can't deal
Wait,
with yeah.
wait.
So,
I'm vegan
oh,
for the month of April. Let's be very clear. Just for April. No
why is it
more.
just for April?
My friend was doing it. It sounds like
So you just in
sound
it for
like
the
kids.
hype?
My friend
Yeah.
was doing it, so I did it too. Well, okay,
Are you
no.
taking Tide Pods too?
Huh?
Are you? Because I mean, are you?
Shut
Because you just sound
up.
like you just in it for the hype. I'm
Okay,
just
no, I'm
saying.
not in it for the hype. I'm doing it for health benefit reasons.
Okay.
Um, one, I'm overweight, so I need to lose weight.
Okay.
Well, on the
Okay.
contrary, a lot of vegans actually end up gaining weight because they end up eating a lot of carbs as replacement because you can eat pastas and breads and potatoes
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
you know. But I'm also doing a low carb thing, so hopefully this will work.
Okay.
And I'm trying to see if taking certain things out of my diet will improve certain symptoms that I'm having. So,
Mm.
yeah.
Well, I'm not, I'm not knocking the whole vegan thing. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? I just want you to do it for you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you know,
It's never
I'm
my
not into the
intention
hype.
to never eat a burger or some chicken wings ever again.
Okay.
Chick-fil-A is my favorite thing in the world.
Okay. Okay.
And, so that's never my intention. But,
But you're definitely right about those the pasta dishes because like I told you, my sister, my youngest sister, she's vegetarian.
mm,
Not vegan, but vegetarian, and that's mostly what she eats. One, I guess, because she can cook it on her own, but two, because it's all she has. So it's just always some pasta dishes
hmm
and some sort of pasta sauce. So
she
she's
gotta be
gotten
careful because
creative.
she just gonna get thick.
Well, you know what? I'm not knocking the thickness. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Everybody need a little thickness. You know what I'm saying? I
Yeah,
was trying to
yeah.
do the little, the, you know that thing that she does, Cardi. I cannot get it to. Oh my god. Okay, but okay. Anyways, yeah. So I mean, she's skinny, so
Yeah, she got some
she'll
room.
have. Yeah, she has room. Like we can't be out here in these streets eating pasta like
Nope.
her. Like I can't touch pasta
If I
like
just
that.
look at the pasta dish, I gain 5 pounds. Like it's just that
Oh,
simple.
the struggle. I hear you though. I hear
Yeah.
you. But hey, have you ever checked out like the keto diet? I hear that's a thing now.
I just keep seeing it. I have no clue what it is. Like, just
Okay,
no
okay.
idea.
I don't ask me. I don't know.
I
I just
don't.
I see girls
I don't
doing it.
know. Yeah. Anyway,
There's always something, right?
always something going
Can't keep up.
on.
Just yeah, just go to the gym, Cheyenne. Just go to the gym.
Yes, that I have been doing. Oh, I've been playing tennis. Did I say that last time?
No, you
I've been
didn't.
playing tennis, which is my favorite. I used to play in high school.
Hmm,
So I've
right.
been getting my workout in, like my cardio with playing tennis like 2 or 3 times
Good,
a
good.
week.
Are you playing by yourself or you have a partner?
I have to play with someone else. Well,
I mean, I was just wondering if you're like bouncing against the wall,
oh no. I've been playing with
Okay.
this. Well, first I met this guy on. Okay, stop.
Ooh.
I met this guy on. There's this
Why you
Tennis
shut it
Buddies
down like
app.
that?
Because I would have to stop
God,
you right
there's an
there.
app for that?
Girl, there's an app for everything.
Oh my
Tennis
God.
Buddies, okay? And so the guy messages me like when I got here and he's like, "Hey, I see you're from Fort Lauderdale. Are you just visiting Augusta or you live here now?" And I'm like, "Oh, I live here now." He's like, "Oh, me too. I moved from Palm Beach." I'm like, "Oh, cool." Then when I finally met up with him to play, he was like, "Oh, I like stalked you on Facebook and I saw that you're friends with this girl I went to high school with, and turns out she's my cousin."
What? What?
Yeah.
Now, let me just put something, let me just insert this right here, y'all. In the last episode, guys, I don't know if you remember that I said that Cheyenne does great with these apps. Listen,
Bruh.
I I mean, if it's meeting someone for a date or something, but Cheyenne, I
This was not the
I don't
same thing.
understand how this works for you. Like no lie, Cheyenne. You have always had great success with
Bro,
this
I don't
stuff.
think you can qualify it as great success if I'm still single,
I'm just
first of all.
saying though, but you
And
get through the whole conversation part, you get through, then you get to the
maybe
meetup.
because I'm fast, like.
Listen,
I did
all
not
I'm
just say
thinking in
that.
the back of my head is criminal minds, criminal minds, criminal minds.
Man, you can't live your life like that. I mean, obviously, you're not going to go and do reckless behavior, but you can't live your life like that. People are dating on these apps. So, obviously,
But
there's.
I've seen some reckless behavior from these outlets. I'm not gonna go to that, but not but
Well, yeah, you gotta be careful, but at the same time, you just gotta get yourself out there.
right. Well, I'm glad you found a tennis partner. That's great.
I actually had joined a team too. That's a whole. It's just too long. The point
What?
is, I've been playing. So,
So hold on. So I can barely get you to record a podcast episode,
bruh, don't
but you out in these streets on
even
a tennis team?
start.
Seriously?
First of all, that was not the reason. My time was not the reason why you couldn't get me to record before this. It was technical difficulties. So don't even start. Are we on the same page or are you still
We on no girl, we
okay?
on the same page, girl.
Okay.
We good, we good, we good, we good. Alright.
So
Well, good, good. Well, I like to hear that. I like that you're back to doing what you want to do because I know you've always wanted to continue with the tennis. You were trying down here in Fort Lauderdale,
yes, I did. I had fun
up there
trying.
doing it. So that's good. I'm all for people getting to do what they love. So shout
Well,
out to you on that
I
too.
mean, I guess that's a good segue into our topic today because doing that has been keeping me like kind of sane. You know, getting
Mm,
away from the clinical setting, away from studying to do some workout, to do something that workout that's fun. Actually, is
right, right,
a way
right.
to doing something that you like is a way to keep your mental health intact.
Ain't that the truth? That's so
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
So, guys, that's what we're going to talk about today. I feel like the
Mhm.
mood is going to take a turn. So, but it's
Aw.
okay. We're going to talk.
Yes.
So,
Let's get into
let's
it.
talk, guys. So, you guys know I'm in med school, and um, it's been taking me way too long to finish. And yes, I still have 2 more years for everyone that's asking. Okay, because the questions never stop, and that's okay. I
They never.
understand that you guys are truly concerned, but
Mhm.
sometimes it can get stressful, and so I think so. The long and short of the story, the overall thing is that for a period last year and the year before, I was absolutely diagnosably clinically depressed, right?
Mhm.
So I had to take this exam, and I feel like it started when I was up in Maine. And so there's this thing called seasonal affective disorder, and
Right.
that's when
Right.
like the people who live further north, if we're talking America, where
Mhm.
during the winter times it's dark for most of the day. Like this, the sun goes down pretty early. Or people who live even
Mhm.
further north, they have like weeks of darkness.
Mm.
It can cause them to be depressed. So I was in Maine during the winter, and one of the things that was happening to me was we would get out of class at like 5, and it was already dark outside. And I would go home, and it was cold, snowing all the time. And I'd go
Mhm.
home, and I just get into bed because I just didn't want to do anything. And I had so much stuff to do. Like, I had so much studying to do, you know, and I just couldn't do it. Like, I just got into bed. And at first, it was just like, oh, I'm getting into bed. I was watching Netflix or something, just under the covers, trying to be warm and whatever. And then it turned into, I don't know, like friends would invite me out places, and I'd just be like, oh, no, I'm already in for the night. And you know me, I'm always down for the turn up.
Right.
And I wouldn't go. And then that, somehow I pulled myself out of that. It became spring again. So, that kind of went away. And then I came home, started to study, and it just wasn't going well. I couldn't focus. I couldn't. I wasn't getting good scores on my practice exams, and then all those months pass. Everybody else is getting their scores passed and moving on, and I'm still just stuck. And then I finally take the exam after like putting it off for months, and then I fail. And at that point, when I took the exam, I was like at my last. I took it maybe just because I just couldn't go any further with studying. Like, I was just at the end of the line mentally, like with anxiety and stress and all of that.
Right. Yeah.
So I took the exam and I failed. And
Mm.
that was where like the bulk of it started. Like, I I remember the first day, of course, like I literally cried the entire day. I feel like I see you that evening too, Candy. Like, I came out to the
I think
practice,
so. Yeah.
and I don't know if you've ever seen me cry in person. Like, that was like
Have I ever
awkward,
seen Shine cry?
and that
Mm.
was like, I just couldn't hold it in. It just was too much. But I tried even then to like brush that off and like keep busy. Like, I was working at the time. I went out, I traveled a bit, but it still, every time I would get back into trying to study, it would be first the anxiety, followed by the depression, just like the thoughts, the same feeling of failing coming over you again, like just the anxiety when I would open up a practice test or something. It would just be
Mm.
like, it was like PTSD. So during that time, I think my my depression and my anxiety almost cost me a friendship with someone
With
who,
who?
I don't want to mention, not
Okay.
anyone, but like with
Mm.
someone I was, somewhat close with, but because of my mood and my me being extra sensitive about little things, it made
Mm.
me like lash out to the person when they didn't necessarily deserve that. It
Mm.
also, I think it contributed to the decline and end of my last relationship, because
Oh, okay. We all remember that one.
right, because usually little things that I would have probably had more patience with and had a little bit more endurance with, I had a short fuse. I had a
Mm.
really low tolerance level for anything. And so that, in that sense, that wasn't the only reason that my relationship ended, but in that sense, that contributed to the high levels of things that happened. And uh, even though I've since passed my exam and moved on to clinicals, it hasn't necessarily gone away. And actually, before I took my exam, I actually started seeing a psychiatrist. I
Mhm.
went to 3 sessions, and it, but the only reason I didn't continue was because her style wasn't exactly what I needed, and I was gonna find someone else, but then I moved, so. And then um, I feel like I'm running a long way with this, but then it doesn't go away. It doesn't just go away, and I still feel
Right.
like I need to actively treat this. And there are things that I do to do that, but I feel like I should be doing more, but circumstances, life is kind of hectic. And so, I don't know. Can you think anybody can relate to what to my
To,
story?
I mean, I totally, I feel like I definitely can relate because I remember when I was in high school towards the end of my, probably junior or senior year. I remember I had to see a therapist,
Oh yeah.
um, because I was super depressed, which led to just me being angry all the time.
Mm.
And I remember it was my dad, because that signed me up. And let me tell you, I it's so great to have support when you're going through these things.
Yeah.
And I just felt like my dad was my rock, because he didn't know what else to do to help his daughter, and he just saw me just breaking down, you know, and he would take me to this therapist. And I was still so very rebellious then, because I'm like, only crazy people see therapists. Like, why do you have me going here? I remember it
Right.
used to be every Monday. He used to pick me up from school early and drive me to this lady. And I would just sit in there and she would just talk. And I would just be like, I'm not saying anything to this lady because only crazy people do these things, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely, and I think that was just because of kind of what just growing up, you just knew that people who had to see psychs and stuff like that, it was just always crazy from what you
Right.
see
It's
on
a
TV,
stereotypical
from
view.
what you'd hear in church, like,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody wanted to pray for you. Like, I remember that time, like, I'm like, if one more person want to pray for me, I'm gonna just go crazy.
Right.
They just wanted to always lay their hands on me, come to the altar, come and pray. And I just remember that that wasn't something that, we were thinking would have helped then. And like even now that I'm older, I'm so big on it. Like I feel like everyone should speak to someone at
Right.
some point, because I'm not realizing that people at 30, 40, 50
Yeah.
and older, like this is real. Like people are feeling this way every day. The
Mm-hmm.
anxiety levels, depression, it's really there in our faces.
Yeah.
And I think maybe now we're a bit more open to it. I'm not sure. What do you think?
Yeah. I think more people are becoming more aware of their mental health. even
Right.
though, but there's still this large like stigma against it, you know, like people still want to just pray for you, and yes, they should pray for you.
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, that let's take the prayer because God is good, and I believe in God, and I believe that He can definitely help. And I honestly, I honestly give credit to God because I think a lot of what you know, how I was feeling and what I was going through and things that I wanted to do, you know, I do believe that
Yeah.
a lot of it God was definitely there and helping me through it. But I
Right.
do think that He has these people in place for a reason also,
Right, because the
you
same
know.
way that when you're, you have physical pain
Right,
and you have a physical illness, we pray
right,
and then we go to the doctor at the same time. We're taking these medications and
right, right,
whatever. It's people
right,
don't realize it's the same thing with your mental health. There are
right.
medications that are there,
Mhm.
you know, for the mind, for your mental health, for your brain, because some of these disorders, some of these things are like real, actual things wrong with your brain. Some of these things are
Right.
real chemical imbalances,
Unbalances.
and they can be helped with a little bit of medication or some therapy, even. Some of it doesn't need medication, that's okay.
Yeah.
But,
And I think that's, even with that, I feel like another reason why I'm into teenagers, a lot. Like I volunteer with them and help them out because I just feel like that, like you mentioned, the chemical imbalances. I think when, they're growing up and the body's changing, their brain's changing, and they're just going through everything. And
yeah,
I feel like a lot of times as adults, as parents, we don't quite understand how to just help or deal with when young people are going through that. They're going through their low self-esteem, the depressions, all of that. And the funny thing is, a lot of people like to say, "Oh, they'll grow out of it."
right.
But at times, they don't ever grow out of it.
Right, because if they never learn how to
Right,
properly cope with changes in their mind, then
right,
we become 29, 30, 40 year olds that still don't know how to properly deal with our issues.
exactly, exactly. It becomes us.
Yeah.
It becomes us, and I've seen it. Oh my gosh, I've so seen it. I personally know um people that just some of those things they just never, and then and not even that, like they never just never went out to seek help about it,
Yeah.
because it's still like, oh, nothing wrong with me, I'm
Right.
good. But you know that they're not good. You see it when they go home and, like you mentioned, curl up in the bed and
Oh, yeah.
just don't want to talk to anybody, or they're snapping, or
Right.
just have those episodes every now and then,
Yeah.
and you know that they need help. But it's still something, like you mentioned, that in our culture now is just like, I'm good. Me no need to see nobody. Me no crazy. You don't
Right.
have to be
Yeah.
crazy to see a therapist. It's just like you don't have to be crazy. You know.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like a lot of people just miss the point. Like, even when you talk about when you see people dealing with things, like if you think about even our generation and the way that we have switched to dealing with our issues, you see these long Facebook posts and rants. You know, people are like literally
Mhm.
airing their
Mhm.
mental issues for the world to see. It's like a big cry
Mhm.
for help all the time, because they don't know how to deal with their
Right.
problems.
Right.
They just lash out on social media, or you know, the friend you have that's not literally, but the friend you have that's like drinking every weekend or drinking every night that they come home.
Right.
Alcoholism is not like a new disease. But we don't, as younger people, we don't recognize that we could be alcoholics. You
Right.
think like, oh yeah, I'm just drinking wine every night. Why are you drinking the wine every night? Is it because you like the taste of wine, or you feel like it's your way of unwinding every evening from your stress, right? And then it goes
Right.
from one small glass of wine to more than, what you need at a time. And then it turns into something harder. And
Full blown, right.
and the next thing you know, you're alcoholic and you don't even know, your friends
And you
don't
don't
even
even
know
know.
because they're doing
Right.
the exact same thing. It's
Yeah.
just, or anything else that you're doing. It just happens. And it's, part of it is, some of it is recreational, yes. But some of
Mhm.
it we don't realize is just people just not dealing with their mental issues the right way.
And you mentioned that some people may deal with it through alcohol, but I've also learned that other people cover up their feelings through even just being extremely busy.
Oh yeah.
Just doing the most, just doing so much just to kind of block out what's happening. Even eating, overeating. I remember having a conversation with someone and they, or I think I probably was watching on TV, but I remember this young lady, she was just saying that how she copes with life is like, that whole niggeritis feeling you feel after you eat?
Mhm.
Like that helps her to sleep. So she'll eat, and then you laugh, but yes, she'll
Oh
eat
man.
when she's ready to go to sleep, she eats a whole lot. When she just is feeling the worst and she goes to sleep, it knocks her out. And that's just her way of coping,
Well,
just sleeping. But for her to sleep, she needs to eat it out and just close her eyes and she's good. And I was just like, wow.
and that's not surprising. I don't even know if I want to get so real right now, but like one of the reasons that I'm doing this vegan thing also is kind of like a psychotherapy for myself with food, because I was
Mm,
starting to like use food as a comfort, and hence all the weight
yeah.
gain. And it's like it
Wow.
had got I realized in analyzing myself lately that it was getting out of hand. But anyway, but because food, so if you're eating food that you really like, it will release certain pleasure centers
Mhm.
in your brain, and certain neurotransmitters and stuff will be released and makes you feel better. So you know
And then it's right there, like these things, the overworking, the drinking, the overeating. These are just way people are just coping with some of these stuff when
hmm
you probably just need to just go see somebody,
yeah, I mean, there
you
could be people,
know?
some of those people that are like overworking and super busy could be bipolar. Like one of the symptoms of bipolar is like hyper manic, really busy doing like a million things, not sleeping, working on several projects at once
Yeah.
just to keep
And I
busy.
can definitely side with that one. You know what I'm saying? I just remembered that even a couple years back, I think it was probably like we were and in 2016, no, I think we're going into 2016. And I remember I ended 2015 just feeling like just so terrible. I don't know. I just was in a mood, and I remember having a conversation with someone in the Menchis Plaza on Commercial and University. I want the person that when they listen to just hear, like, I remember that conversation I had with you, and it just helped so much because I was just at a terrible place at that time. And I remember when I entered the new year, I decided to like step back from a lot of things, and I realized that I was doing so much, but it wasn't anything for me. You feel
hmm
me?
Yeah.
Like it was just for other people, and I saw how it was just breaking me down, you know? And I had to get a hold of my life, and it was through that conversation and just re-evaluating and sitting down and thinking and like, "Ugh, this is how we have to move forward." Because sometimes you need, that's why I went back to saying you need some people that kind of tell you
Hmm.
how it is, you know. Some people around here just, you know, just letting you go about destroying your life, you
Yeah,
know?
I mean that's one thing, but there's also sometimes you. I remember I got good at hiding what was happening with me. You
Well,
know.
I mean, not if you're hiding. I mean, if you can see it, because
Yeah.
you
So
know,
you
like
know
it
there's.
wasn't until you mentioned it to you know me off air, you know. But there's some people that you see it in your face. Like you talk about the drinking,
Hmm.
you know, you talk about the the overeating, the ones that you can see and you can know that they're not at a good place. You know, they're not doing okay. You know, like I said, like my dad at that point in time when I was in high school, you know, a lot of people found ways to tiptoe around the issue, like friends and stuff like that. And I guess we're all young, so you weren't sure how
Right.
to really deal with that. But it took my dad saying, like, this is not okay, you know,
Hmm.
and definitely trying to help. So that's what I'm saying. Like, some people that see it and know, and, you know, you need some of that. You need some of that sometimes, you know, or someone you can talk to. Like you were when you were in your dark place. I mean, at some point you had to open up. You opened up,
Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, it's I definitely see it's real. Mental health, it's necessary. Like we need to stop putting these stigmas on this thing and get help. You know what I'm saying? It's you're not crazy. You're not crazy, guys.
Yeah. And the thing about it too is for each other to be better friends and family to each other is that if we're more aware of what these things look like, then you can notice what's going on with your friend, your sister, your,
True.
whatever.
Y-
Because, and so that you can not be the person to add to what they're going through, but, offer. You might not be able to help, not everybody,
Right. Exactly.
but at least be mindful because the sad thing is that suicide rates are super high, and
Mhm.
even though our specific culture is not on the top of that list, it's still not something you want to see happen, and it's still
Right. Right.
happening.
It
So
is definitely happening.
you wonder, you hear these, people, somebody's husband or whatever just shoots themselves, and you're like, what happened? They looked happy. You've heard this story before,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it's
And
like,
you know what's interesting about this too, and you know you mentioned males, and I always think about relationships, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, married couples, whatever it may be. And I know a lot of times anytime people talk about these things like depression and so forth, I don't know, it's always women. I guess
mm-hmm,
women are the ones that are seeking the help and so forth. But I always think about the men, you know, because can you imagine having to be, you know, what we quote unquote what a man is supposed to look like?
yeah,
You know, they're supposed to be strong. They're supposed to hold the family together. They're supposed to wine and dine like I just see just the things that they put on what the men are supposed to be like, and I'm just sitting there like the same thing that you're going through as a female, who knows what he may be going through, you know?
right,
And here he is having to put on this mask, like everything is okay, you know, when he has his own inner demons, his own struggles dealing with, and nobody's suggesting for him to go see a therapist.
yeah,
No one is suggesting for him to, to release all this because, but he's supposed to fit this mold,
and the
this
suicide
picture.
rate is higher in men than in women.
Oh, wow. See, I
Yeah.
didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel it for them. I feel it for men. So here now, you know, where everyone is trying to get down the altar, you know, and I just can't imagine like how some relationships are behind closed doors, you
Mm-hmm.
know, when you have all this going on, you know. Um, so even that I think about. I always think about those things in with relationships. And here you have these two people coming together, with whatever their background issues are, and now you're putting them in a house together, and then we're gonna add kids to the picture. Like it just seems just so unhealthy to me at times. I remember I saw a meme going around. Just I don't even remember all the words, but I remember it was like a girl saying to a guy like, "How's your mental state? How were you raised? Are
Mm-hmm.
you good? Are you depressed? Let's talk about it before we get in a relationship with
Right.
each other. Let's see somebody before we do that." And I'm with that now. Like I'm with that being the conversation. Not if you can pay my bills, not if your credit is good, not if you graduated from college, but how is your mental state?
Mm-hmm.
How are you? Were you abused as a child? I
Next
mean,
thing you end up on Snap, then
exactly. Exactly. You touched the wrong button because you don't know what it was when they were growing up. You
Mm-hmm.
don't know where they're coming from, what was their household like, because you guys missed all of that.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
hear you, man.
Yeah, yeah.
So then I mean, we touched a little bit on this, but I had a conversation with some friends the other day about like mental, like not just the depression and anxiety that we're talking about, but like real psychological disorders that people have,
Mm.
schizophrenia, bipolar,
Oh wow,
um,
yeah.
you know, different things like that. And we were talking about how, like especially like Catholics, but even in our kind of Pentecostal church, the whole like exorcism deal when they say, oh, this person has a demon and they're like casting out demons. Or if you think about um, the people, the homeless, not necessarily homeless. Like in America, I think the homeless population is very diverse because you have people who are literally down on their luck, but you
Mhm.
also have those who are on drugs or have psychological issues, right?
Right.
But
Yeah.
I don't know if any, if the people from Jamaica could probably relate, but like when you in Jamaica you have these what we call the madman on the street,
Madman,
right?
mad woman, mad woman.
And I think about that now and I'm like, they literally just need some medication.
Mm.
They literally
Wow.
could use medication and some therapy to get them
Right.
back on their feet. I mean, a lot of
Right.
it sometimes it's drugs and then that, but a lot of times it's the psychological issue that it's like craziness going on in their brain that they can't deal
Right.
with, and it leads them to take drugs to numb whatever
Because I
voices.
remember growing up in Jamaica, and a lot of those people you used to hear, I dopey them out, like I dopey, she need Jesus, and I'm just like, and I remember having to stay away from those people because I didn't want that dopey to come into me. You know what I'm saying? I remember this girl that used to come to our church in autism, Stacy with the dopey.
Jesus.
And I would not go near Stacy because I didn't want her dopey to come into me.
And I feel like it makes me think about when we're in the church and you're casting out demons. And I believe in the spiritual aspect of the world, that there are things that are unexplained. But I feel like we just stop there,
Right, right. That's
you
that's
know?
true.
And I feel like not all of it is demons. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Any
We're
pastors
not knocking that
listening
because we
can.
do. We do know that there's evil out there, and we
Right.
do.
But it's like, and maybe there's evil components to these sicknesses and to even
Mhm.
physical illness and to the mental illness. But I just feel like we can't just stop there with
There.
it.
That's
And we
true.
should probably start to think outside of what we think we know
Mm.
and probably deal with some of the things that is actually known, the science of it all. And, because I feel like at the same time, God gave us these brains that came up with that, found these chemicals and medications to treat things. You
You
know?
know what I was just thinking of, and I'd like to ask your opinion on this and tell me what you think. So you know how and it honestly just came to me. I'm like, So you know how we've learned in church about um how spirits transfer, especially through multiple sex partners,
Mm.
you know, and soul ties and all of that whole shebang. And I remember, um, so now say for instance, now people like I mentioned this young lady or anyone, me, now suppose now you're having sex with someone that may have had, girl, you know where I'm going with this, right? I may have some issues, or maybe they slept with a previous person that had some issues deep down, or the next one. I'm just saying, like, what do they say about things like that? Could that lead to some of, now this is a spiritual side, y'all. We go into church. Could that be the reason why some people are, maybe dealing with some inner demons, some stuff like that, because of those soul ties that are transferring over
I
all
mean,
around?
I don't fully understand the theory behind that. I mean, I hear it
Mm-hmm.
and it's just,
Gosh,
it's one of those
where's a
things that
pastor when we
you,
need a pastor? Jesus.
it's just,
But go ahead.
it's one of those things that you hear and you say and you kind of believe it to be true. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand the real reason behind that and how that works. But if the theory is true, then I believe then that's possible then. If that
Right.
is the case, then that could be some of the reasons why we deal with certain things. You take on certain personality traits and that don't belong to
Right.
you, and, and then you're.
Listen, I know that at some point, when I kind of thought that when I was younger, and I'd never revisited that because I know I had wanted to ask someone about it, like
Hmm.
some pastor or something,
Yeah,
and
my
I just
mom used to
never.
say it all the time, but I
Oh, your
mean,
mom did. Okay, what
yeah.
did she say?
No, just the same thing that you have to be, one of the reasons why you shouldn't sleep around is because you
Mm.
get tied in with these spiritual things, with the people and
I believe there. I definitely believe there has to be some truth to that,
mhm.
though. There has to be. There has to be. Because I mean, if some people can't, can you imagine, like, there are people out here that can't let previous sexual partners go.
Oh yeah.
So if you can't let people go in your mind, I believe there's other things there too that you're tied up with, that just
Mhm.
holding you to
Yeah.
that person.
Yeah.
I definitely can believe that, and maybe moving in the future we can revisit that, and have,
Yeah.
someone that's, more spiritual versed in that area, to
To
kind of break it down without putting
share
me to
some
sleep.
expert opinion on it.
Exactly.
Yes.
you know
I agree.
to definitely get into it, because that's interesting. It's
Yeah.
interesting to me. But yeah.
Well, I mean, so the bottom line here, guys, is that
Right. What's the bottom line,
the
Cheyenne?
bottom line here is that just the same way when you have a cold, you have the flu, people get cancer, okay? People, you got pneumonia, you get sick, whatever reasons that you feel physically ill, don't forget that your brain and your mental is a part of you. So
Yeah.
when that is sick, you also need to treat that accordingly. And it
Yes.
doesn't always mean meds. And we shouldn't be afraid, honestly, of medications for, your mental. Yes, and just like any other medications, they have side effects. Yes. But
And
there's
we do have
this,
to be careful, and sometimes you can get addicted, but
yes,
there really is medication there to help
there's
different
things to
things.
help, there's medication to help, there's therapy to help.
There's therapy to help,
Don't
right?
be afraid to talk to someone, and nowadays there's so many ways. I even see now that there are therapist apps
Right,
where
yeah.
you can find a therapist online. One of my friends told me about blackgirltherapist.com, I want to say.
I haven't heard of that
Um,
one.
and just if you just Google, there are so many ways to get the help that you need, and you don't have to feel that way all the time. Because I think back now that I have
Mhm.
certain things under control. I think back to literally last year this time how I was feeling, and I
Right.
just like I think like, man, that was dark. That
Mm.
was a terrible place to be in, like. And so, but now I'm in a better place, and you can come out of it, and
Yeah.
they're it's not just gonna be an overnight thing. They're just, there's healthy ways to deal with it. I even have this app called Headspace,
Mhm.
where you can do meditation for different reasons, for anxiety, for
Mm.
depression, for sleep deprivation, whatever, for focus, for anything, different things, and they're just
And
different ways to
another
fix it.
thing with that too, even if it's that's not something that you're dealing with now, like you're not depressed now, you're not dealing with anxiety now, you're not off the wall now,
Hmm.
it can happen later on.
Right.
It can still happen. And I know that our podcast, caters to a certain age group, mostly people over 25. And I know this in our ratings that that's the group that we're catering to. But anyone here that's dealing with teens, I will always go back to teens. Anyone that is listening to this episode and you work with teens or you have a teen or anything like that, just please always just keep them in mind when thinking about these things. Because if you as an adult can barely manage with some of these emotions and things that's going on, just keep in mind how that young person may be dealing with everything that's going on,
Right.
you know. And please, and I know that we didn't touch on that, but if we could just get into it just really quick, just don't just tell, and be careful of the things that you tell people to, like,
Hmm.
just get up out of the bed, just just get out of your feeling, like this is things. And again, I see, you hear me I'll put my accent to it because I'm Jamaican, and I know that's what I hear, so I'm just gonna go back to my culture with how we deal with that. But yeah, just be careful of the things that you tell people, because sometimes it's not that
It's
easy. It's
literally not
not
that
that
simple.
easy.
Yes, I
It's
can
not,
attest.
right. Exactly. You can't just command somebody, just get up out of the
You
bed and just
sometimes
go do
literally
something.
cannot get out of bed.
Right. Right.
You can literally have no appetite. You
Right.
literally do not want anyone to talk to
Go cook
you.
something to eat. Go do 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 do. It's go to church. Just go to church. Sometimes you just don't want to be around people. You don't want to be around people. Period. You
Sometimes
don't
you
want
get
to
to the
have
point where
to.
you start questioning your fate. I mean, like, so it's even worse when people start telling you stuff like that. You're just like, what?
Yeah.
And
I don't want to go to church. I don't want to see people. I don't want to have to smile with people. I don't want to hug people.
hmm.
I just don't want to be around that many people.
Yeah.
And sometimes y'all just don't understand.
Well, listen, if I know we kind of vaguely mentioned all these resources, but we'll post about them. And if you
Yeah.
have questions, don't be afraid to email us. Not You don't have to email us and tell us what you're going through, but if you need to find out about where to get help, you can email us
Yeah, and like right
or
now,
text
I
us,
know a lot
whatever.
now. Yeah. Hey, holler at us, comment,
Instagram
email.
DM, and
Yeah,
we will be there to point you in the right direction.
because we believe you. Like, we
I
believe
believe
you.
you. I
We
want to
won't
say
be.
one
Yeah.
thing that helped me, and that's the other thing, is that if you know your friends, then you can tell when things are different. And one of the things that helped me last year, I had two
Mm,
different friends that were going through similar things, and it's just, even just for me, them saying little things to me, I was able to say, me too. And
mm,
then we could deal with it together, you know? Because if you start
Right.
to talk to people, you realize that you're not alone. Sometimes, like, you realize this is not some foreign thing to just you.
And you know what's another thing that I've noticed that you may pick up on too? And it's so you mentioned social media earlier. Like you mentioned that people are posting stuff on social media, laying their whole life out there.
Hmm.
Things that are red flags to me is when you see somebody that's always posting, there you always know what they're doing every weekend. You always see stuff on their social media, all the platforms, and then they disappear.
Hmm.
Like you don't see them anymore
Hmm.
for a month,
Yeah.
2 months. Those are red flags to me.
Yes.
Like,
I
what
agree.
are you going through?
I agree.
Is everything good?
Just
You
keep your
know?
eyes open, people.
Keep your eyes open. Like, if
If
someone
that's your
went
close
from,
friend, you know. Or, I
and
mean,
if even if they're over posting, like you see them just talking about
yeah.
and reposting depressing stuff and just just talking about their feelings. They're always on. They're just posting lots of stuff, and and it's dark stuff. Then
Hmm.
that could be another red flag too.
Yeah.
Maybe your friend needs some help. They need someone to talk to. So
And on that note,
guys, and on that note, should we end or should we
we
should
need
we
to, we're
pick it
wrapping
up a
up.
notch just to like on a happy note?
Oh,
Anything on
well,
a happy
yes. On
note?
a happy
Yeah.
note, one of the things that helped me when I was a little down was music. And
Ooh,
what are you listening to,
music.
Candy?
What am I, girl? What am I
Y'all,
listening
Candy is in
to?
her feelings.
Let me tell y'all. I'm trying to do this as quick as possible. Now,
Please.
listen, guys. Candy is not into love songs. Candy was not listening to the slow R&B stuff.
It's a
That was
red
not
flag,
my
guys.
thing, you guys. Shine would always talk about these slow songs that she was always listening to. That wasn't my thing. I feel like you have to be in love to be listening to these things or whatever. So, guys, Shine mentioned this artist a couple months ago. I don't know how far back,
Long time.
but I just got put on to this dude. Like, I'm recently started listening to him, Daniel
I feel
Caesar.
like I told you about him back in September.
I feel like it too. I feel like it was
Because
on
that's
their
when I
episode with
heard.
Rashane and Crystal. I feel like that's when you mentioned it.
Hmm.
But, guys, I don't know what took me so long, but I know if you follow me on
Hmm.
my social media platforms, like you probably see me posting little stuff about Daniel Caesar. I'm always talking about him on my Snapchat. People are probably like really annoyed.
I am.
Um,
Because
you
I'm
know
like,
what? Whatever,
really?
Cheyenne. But I am so in love with him, guys. I even went ahead and created this me and Bae playlist. I don't have no Bae, but I have a me and Bae playlist,
Okay.
and Daniel Caesar is all up in that playlist. Like,
Yes, some of his songs are definitely wedding day songs, and
yes,
and
yes.
and he has this, like, you can tell, which he does say, but you can definitely hear his church background, like,
Yes,
in it. Like,
yes,
it's,
I
and not
hear
even
it.
just the obvious song that's like a remake, just the way the chords of the music are, his
He's a church boy,
vocals.
y'all.
It's
I can
like,
hear it. And Shine did say that. So he's there.
yeah.
And along with artists like her, I like her.
Oh
I
my
like Kalani.
her,
Like there's lots of other people on that playlist. Guys, if you want me to share that playlist with you,
the Me and Bae
let me
playlist on
know.
Apple
I'll
Music.
post that. Huh?
The Me and Bae playlist on Apple Music.
Yes, but I've edited and
Oh,
made it
you
my
edited.
own.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, like even I know I'm probably taking out the time. Like, what's his name? The Dream,
Yeah, he has some
who
new
was dating
stuff.
Celine. Oh,
Oh, you mean
he
The
has some
Weeknd?
new. Do we? Oh my gosh! Yes, Weekend. My
Okay.
bad, y'all.
Yes,
So
his
he
new
recently
stuff.
broke up with Selena, right?
And
Well,
that
not
album.
recently, but that album,
If we want to talk about
somebody
mental
hurt his
health,
feelings.
let me tell you about Abe. Okay,
Yes,
Abe is out
that
here. Abe used to be
he is
popping
out
pills.
here.
He might be popping them pills again.
Oh my
And
God.
to contradict everything we just talked about, I'm really here for it because when he's depressed, he makes really good music.
Man, somebody hurt him. Selena, I don't
She
even
did.
like Selena anymore because she hurt him.
She
Like,
did
guys, if you listen to his album,
all
he
six
is
songs.
going through it. Yes.
My favorite on there is, oh man, what's it called? Wasted Times.
Oh,
And then my second favorite is Call Out My Name.
Call out my name. Oh
Yes.
my god. Girls, guys listen.
These
What
guys be out
girls
here
need to
hurt.
stop used to be the other way around. Guys used to be out here hurting girls' feelings. Girls have all these breakup songs. Guys have break. See, back to what I said about men and mental health, y'all.
Hmm.
Don't sleep on these men.
And
They have
actually,
feelings too.
today I got put onto an artist. Shout out to Ludney. In her words, he is the next Maxwell. His name is Gallant. He's the one that sings a song about putting my weight in gold. Putting my weight in gold. Whatever. Is that what it said? Am I saying the wrong words? I don't know.
I don't think I know that one. I'm like over here, like going back to my playlist to see if he appeared on the Me and Bay
I
playlist.
don't know if he's on there. But
Okay.
he does sound like Maxwell. He has that high pitched croon to his voice. Yeah.
No, I
And
don't see.
yeah, that's all I'm listening to right now.
But yeah, okay, those are interesting people. See y'all, man. And the thing is, a lot of these songs on this playlist, they're like all guys. They're all guys
Yes,
just
they
pouring out
are.
their
Except
feelings.
for
Guys
her and
are
like Janae
connecting with, yeah.
and the internet. Sid from the internet. She's really good too. Anyway,
Yeah, probably went on again, but
so that's the end of this.
yes, it's the end.
This is the end. Listen, guys, follow us on Instagram
Instagram.
at these two girls. That's these, the number two, and girls with a U.
Yep.
Email us, like we
Email
said,
us.
with any stories, questions. We had one question the other day. We should see if there are any more. Send us more questions.
Yeah,
These
send
two
them.
girls podcast at gmail.com.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need any information about resources on mental health, we got you there too.
Yep.
And
Yep.
follow us on Twitter at
Twitter.
these two girls pod, because Twitter.
Have you been
Our
posting on
haters.
Twitter, Cheyenne?
No, you know
Because
I
you're
meant to say
responsible
that?
for the Twitter account.
Yeah. You know, I need to just go after you post. I need to go in and edit the post and share it on the Twitter. That's what I need to do. I have been saying I need to do
Sorry
that.
for throwing you under the bus, but go ahead, continue with the handles.
That's it. That's all the handles. Wait, did you make a Facebook the other day, girl?
It's there, but I haven't made it live yet. It's there, but
because I saw
haven't
that I
made
was
it
an
public.
admin, and I was like, oh, well,
Yeah.
Facebook coming soon. Okay,
It's coming soon, y'all.
soon.
When once you put on Facebook, everybody. Anyways,
Oh
okay, go
God,
ahead.
yeah. All right. Well, that's what we want. Sort of.
So check us out next episode, and we'll talk to you guys another time later.
Later.
Bye.